This is the floor. It's old hardwood. We can see here the floor split down, has lowered down in the center, but this edge remains up. Now floor is broken down primarily because the joists get split. So that's what happens to the floor. Over here is where I've already fixed. This is a fixed section of floor, which basically is back to flat again. There's a little bit of raise because the floor, although it's been fixed, the floorboards have not been in this fixed position for probably 20 or more years, so they tend to buckle and come up a bit. But the floor itself is back to flat again. Now I'll go down underneath and show you what that looks like. Old schoolhouse building. Go around the back to get inside under the basement crawl space. It's the entrance to the crawl space. So this has been aired out. Now we'll get back in here. Now this is a temporary support. This temporary support is holding up the center of the floor on the joists. If we go through here, see this is the original, this beam here is the original beam. It's like a 10 by 10 beam supporting the floor, and on either side we have joists that hold up the floorboard, the subfloor and the floorboards. So what happens in these old houses is the joists separate. The joists are placed using this lap construction, where the joist is notched and then slotted into the beam, and that notch over time, over hundreds of years, will split, and then the floor will drop down because the board has been split. So right at the top here we see where the board is split, and that causes this part of the floor to drop down, and then the joist splits, and so it's not really supporting that floor so much. This happens gradually over time. So what we do to fix it is we use a piece of a sandwich of half-inch CDX plywood on each side, and then a double joist hanger to hold up the joist and nail it back into the beam. So now I'm going to show you what happens when we jack up the floor in order to fix one of these joists. So this is the joist that's going to be fixed. We've already put some supporting structure on it. Those are the bolts. Those bolts support an extra inch of plywood to straighten this board out. This very old board, which is kind of chipping away here. But it's still strong enough that we can use it. Most of the board is strong enough we can use it if we have a support going with it. Now what we do is we raise up this joist so that we can get it level, the floor level again. This is a 12-ton jack, and we set up some support structure here that it can sit on. This has to be laid very, very straight. The jack really needs to be very straight underneath there so that you're pushing straight up. So now we're going to jack up this jack and see what happens. So what you'll hear is the floor will start to creak as we put more pressure on it. And what's happening is that the floor is being raised up along with the rest of the house, so that this can go back in the correct position. I've already put the joist hanger on, so I'm just kind of demonstrating this. But we get the floor, the joist back up level with the beam so that it's resting in the right position. And when we're done, we just take this and then we set the joist in there, and then we release the jack, and this lowers back down. Now let's go look at that inch that we saw that's dropped down over on the side wall. we're going all the way along that back wall that we first saw in the beginning of the video. So this is another temporary support that's put in just to keep the floor from falling down. And we see this as an old stone foundation house. So there's no concrete here, it's just stones stacked up on dirt make up the foundation. What we're going to do is take a look at what's happened. And what we see is these joists are not actually split. Actually, that one's a little bit split, but these joists are not actually split. What's happened over time is that this stone wall has slowly given way, and the beam itself has pushed out away from the house. So you see that beam back there has pushed away enough that the joists have just fallen down without actually cracking. So this is a harder fix, much harder fix, because the foundation has crumbled away a little, and the beam is separated from the joists enough that the joists have fallen down, which is causing that 1 inch. So that's where we're at currently.